Hi, I'm Jenny, and in today's video I'm going to talk about how I already scratched my new watch, why my secret identity would wear a Moser, and how the perfect watch would look like. So let's get started. So this is not only my last video of 2020, this is also going to be my last Q&A of the year. So I've asked for your questions on YouTube and on Instagram, and we're going to start right away with the first one. And it is from Adam. What are a few of your watch pet peeves? For example, one of mine is odd lug widths. Well, I can totally understand that. I would say my pet peeve are bracelets that are difficult to handle. So are difficult to adjust by yourself when you've got like screws that are drowned in Loctite, or when you got these pins with the sleeves. My red dial Seiko, the cocktail time, is an offender of that. It was so difficult to figure out how to shorten that bracelet, and that is my pet peeve for sure. Next up from Damien, I find a Cartier Tank Solo in steel is actually a bit underwhelming in person. What do you think? I do agree with you on that, but I think when I first saw a Tank Solo in person, I find it a bit flat, but I do blame the steel bracelet for that. I think it looks much better when you put it on a leather strap. I filmed a Cartier video where I have it on this light gray leather strap, and I think it looks much better on a leather strap than on the bracelet. The next question from, I cannot pronounce your name. What is the toughest challenge you have faced in launching your channel? Well, the launch itself wasn't that difficult, I would say, because I've already been doing that in German before. But as time went on, I found it much more difficult to deal with negative comments, because you guys, I'm a sensitive person. And for some reason, the human brain just works like that, where you have 9 nice comments and the 10th comment is something negative. And I'm talking about constructive criticism. I'm talking about like just negative stuff. And for some reason, you can only think about the negative stuff. But I would say it's okay right now. I've found a way to handle it, but I mean, yeah, it still very much hurts, not gonna lie. So yeah, that would be the toughest thing, I would say. Next question from Sigmund and Zucchini. That's a cool name, by the way. Since you own both Datejust and Oyster Perpetual, which do you prefer and why? I do feel very bad for saying that because Datejust is my wedding watch, but I do prefer the Oyster Perpetual right now. It looks very minimalistic. You've got the Oyster bracelet and the pink dial. It's just perfect right now. I mean, I don't have anywhere to go. There are no like fancy occasions that I can attend right now. So I feel on a day-to-day basis that Datejust is a bit too much for me. Next question from Kipax Watches. Did you damage your watch when you banged it? He's referring to, and a lot of people have been asking me that, he's referring to the Instagram story that I posted a couple of days ago. There is a scratch on the bezel, but I think it has been there before, I'm not sure. It's not the first, it's not going to be the last, which is okay, but yeah, that one was very loud, but it's okay, it's okay. You know, I'm over it. Thanks for reminding me. Next up, hey Jenny, big fan, thank you. Have you ever thought of collecting vintage watches? What's my opinion on that? It's definitely a very untapped topic on my channel, vintage watches, mainly because I'm very hesitant about giving advice on vintage because I myself don't have very much experience on it. And I feel that vintage watches do require a lot of experience to really get into it. There's so much to think about, how to care for them, how to properly service them. You also have to have the money to service them. Vintage watches can be quite expensive. Like you can buy one and then after some time you will have to service it, and then it might end up costing you more than the watch itself. So you have to be prepared for that, and I don't know if I am yet. A guy and his watch wants to know, what superpower would you want and what watch would your secret identity wear? I would either want to be invisible, or I want to be able to teleport, because I think both of these things could come in very handy in all sorts of situations. And my secret identity would wear a Moser Vanta Black watch, but without the moon phase to make it even more mysterious, because I think that would be very fitting. That's a cool question. Let me know in the comments what your superpower would be and which watch would go with that. Thank you, Guidance Watch. That's a very cool question. Next question is something I do get quite a lot, and I'm going to put them together. First one is from Gary. What is the ideal watch if you design it? Who would you work with and why and when do you use it? And then Matt Fairman on YouTube asked something similar, saying, in quotes, there's no such thing as a perfect watch, but if you piece together your fantasy timepiece, what would you do? Hear me out. My perfect combo: have the bracelet in the case made by Rolex, have the dial made by Grand Seiko. And then that's where I'm a bit torn. I would either go for a spring drive from Grand Seiko, or anything from lange&söhne. Have it on an exhibition case back so I can see it. I think that would be the perfect mix, the ideal watch. And I would wear it whenever I would want to. I would probably wear it every day because it just sounds so perfect. Next up, Dixon Chan wants to know, double watches, wearing one on each wrist. I've seen a few now with Apple, boom, or Fitbit on one wrist along with their favorite mechanical, boom, on the other. Faux pas or trend? Well, I would say neither. I don't think it's a faux pas. See, for me, this is not a watch. My Apple Watch is just a device. It's like my smartphone. It's just there. And I mainly use it to replace my smartphone. I can leave it in the car or leave it wherever. And if someone wants to reach me, I got my Apple Watch. And that's my watch. That's my, when I want to know the time, I'm going to be like this and not like that, you know? And I find it very practical. I know to some it might look different, but I think it's cool. Next question from Katie Wong. As a female collector, hello as part of the 4.7 of female viewers on my channel, I often find myself looking at certain watches, tempted to buy them, but realize that either the case size is too big for me or it doesn't look good on the wrist. What are some watches you wish have similar case sizes so that it fits your wrist? How cool would it be if we could get a Grand Seiko with a spring drive that would be thinner and smaller? I think that's really missing. A bit smaller Aquaterras. I know there's a 38mm, like a 36 or 35 would have been even better. Hot take. If lange&söhne could work out a smaller Saxonia, ooh, that would be like having the classic. I think it's now in a 38, but also making that one either like a 34 or 36 would be amazing, because I still think the 38 is a bit too big, because that classic look, I want it to be small on my wrist for that specific watch. So those would be my examples where I would be like, oh man, if you were smaller, I would just be broke. Right, so that was it for my Q&A today. This was definitely not filmed on a different day because I forgot to film an outro. I just want to take this moment and say thank you so much for being here. Not only for submitting the questions for my Q&A, but also just for watching my videos, being subscribed. This year has been so crazy, so I'm very grateful for all of you being here. And yeah, that was it. I want to wish you a very happy and safe new year, and I will see you next year. Bye!